Now on ICANN Media, I'd like to introduce you to Brock Josephson from Spotter RF, and tell us a little bit about your technology, because we were actually put on to you by somebody else that we spoke to earlier today who thought that you had a fascinating product.
Well, that's great to hear. We always like to hear other people thinking our product is fascinating. Obviously, I think so, and everybody here at Spotter RF does. I'll tell you just a little bit. If you want to take a look at it, this is a ground surveillance radar. Now, typically when people think of ground surveillance radar, they think of large rotating discs, big military equipment, very complex, very expensive equipment. What we've done is digitized it, brought it to the digital age of small iPads and iPhones and stuff, to make it much simpler, much easier to use, that can be used by just about anybody who can operate a tablet or a computer.
Okay. So what is it used for then?
Excellent question. So this is used to secure large open areas, perimeters. Think of an oil pad, for example, an area that is unattended. How do you know what's going on? How do you know nobody's there trying to steal your equipment or sabotage it? There's a couple of ways that they do it traditionally. One is you put guards out at all the sites, which is very expensive, very costly, and not a fun job, to be honest, to sit there, especially when you're up at like Fort McMurray and it's negative 30 degrees outside. Another way to do it is with cameras. You could do that, but it would take a lot of cameras, especially if you have a large area. What we do is we integrate radar, which detects moving targets over wide areas, and we cue cameras to it. So essentially you have a robotic perimeter security system that will detect in a wide area, cue a camera to the target, and alerts you when there's somebody there.
So it's the camera then that gives the image back to the user. It's the radar that triggers the camera to do such a thing, right?
Exactly.
So when you're talking about a wide perimeter, what size are we talking here?
We're talking anywhere from a couple of acres up to perimeters that are kilometers long. In addition to just giving you detection on the perimeter fence line, it also gives you detection beyond the fence line and inside the fence line simultaneously, which is also very helpful, especially if you've got high profile assets and it's possible to interrupt what's going on from outside the fence line. So I don't know if you can see this on the projector here or not. This will kind of give you an idea of what's going on. On the left hand side, we've got the view of the radar. This red ellipse that you can see, that's the field of view of the radar. And those targets that are going up and down, those are detections. Now this is actually detecting people that are walking up and down this aisleway right now. Then on the right hand side, you can see the camera. Every time there's a new detection, the camera will cue over to it and focus on that target. Okay. So you can imagine having...
Right now we're looking at the booth across from us, right behind us.
Right. Okay. So the field of view of this radar is such that we're actually detecting some people moving over in the booth behind us.
So you mentioned that people already use cameras. How does this... You're still using a camera here, but you're adding an extra piece of equipment. So how is this more efficient than just using cameras?
Well, imagine how many cameras it would take to cover an area, let's say the size of this building or this tent here. It would take dozens, if not hundreds of cameras to cover all of that area. Because with a camera, you got two choices. You zoom way out, and then you can't see very far, maybe 50 meters with the camera that's zoomed way out. Or you zoom way in, and you can see further, but your field of view is very narrow. So to cover an area this large, you would need dozens of cameras to effectively cover the whole area. With this type of system, we could easily cover it with just one radar and one camera.
And obviously it would likely just be higher than what this one is.
Yeah, you would probably put it up a little bit higher, though you don't need to get it that too high. As long as you have line of sight to your target, it can detect and track it.
Brock, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.